It seems like everybody is getting into the brushless hoop game. A little late to the game is the creator of the original tiny hoop, the Inductrix by Blade. Is the brushless Inductrix worth the wait? Let's find out. The brushless Inductrix has an 82mm frame and it uses 0706 15,000 kV brushless motors with 40mm quad blade props. It weighs 37 grams without the battery and 55 grams with a 1S 525C battery pack. It runs Spektrum only. It uses a CMOS camera with a 25mW VTX. And the VTX channels can be changed with the transmitter through the OSD. The OSD shows basic information like the call sign, VTX channel, flight time, and flight mode. And it has an advertised flight time of 4 minutes with this battery that they recommend. And it has an onboard LED that you can change the color through the transmitter. It has 3 flight modes: angle, altitude, and agility. Angle mode is a normal self-leveling mode. Altitude is an angle mode plus some kind of thing that helps you maintain altitude. And then agility mode, which is their acro mode, which is full manual. There's really nothing new. All the features they have on the brushless model are the same features they had on the last year's model, which is a 1S brushed hoop. If I sound negative in this review, there's a lot of reason for it. I'll start with the negative stuff. The Inductrix only runs Spektrum, so if you're a Frsky user like me, you have to use one of these OrangeRX modules to make your Taranis work with Spektrum. It's not all that hard to set up, but it's just a pain in the ass. It would be so much easier if they just had versions where they work natively with Frsky, FlightClub, or any other receiver. We put up with this in the beginning when the tiny hoop first came out, but with so many hoop options today, nobody wants to carry around an extra module just to fly their tiny hoop. Also, it's 2018. Just make these things run on Betaflight. Nobody wants to run your proprietary firmware, but I can see why they do this. I'll get into this later. The Inductrix only comes with a quad and a manual. No battery, charger, or spare props included. Come on, Blade. For 150 bucks, you gotta at least include a battery. You gotta buy these things separate, and it's only a 25C battery for 13 bucks. Now on to the positives. The frame on the Inductrix feels pretty good. It feels firm, well made, doesn't creak. And then it seems like they use some kind of polycarbonate material for the canopy, which is really good. It feels really durable. But that's about all I can say good about the Inductrix. I don't like the way this thing flies. Probably because they use their proprietary firmware. You can't adjust the rates or tune your PIDs or anything like that. The horizon and level modes feel okay, but it feels like the rates on the yaw are double of what the pitch and roll are, because you'll be flying along with soft PIDs on the roll and pitch, and then you hit the yaw and it's like it just spins way too fast. The acro mode on this one is pretty bad. The rates are way too high. I say you have to stay around like 50% of the center stick, because if you go past that, it feels like you're just gonna dump the quad into the ground. Yeah, you could go into your Taranis and mess with the rates and soften it, but it's not worth the trouble. Get a quad with Betaflight. So I'll just quickly go over how I got the Inductrix to work on my Taranis. So first, just go create a new model like I did. And then you have to go and turn off the internal receiver. And then for the external receiver, change it to PPM channels 1 through 8. Next on the mixer, page 6 of 14, you have to go assign 2 switches. So you have to assign channel 5, which is on a 3-position switch. This will be for your flight mode. And then for your arm disarm, you have to set it on a momentary single position switch. So I just set it up on channel 6, and when you flick this on and off, that's the arm and disarm. And then on the outputs, I had to go reverse channels 2 and 4, and then on the range, I had to set my negative to negative 96 for the arm to actually work. To bind the Taranis to the Inductrix, just plug in your orange module, plug in the battery on the quad, let it go through its little sequence, and then when you flip the quad upside down, you'll see the light start flashing quickly. That means it's in bind mode. And then push the bind button, hold down the bind button on the OrangeRX while turning on your transmitter.
Gentlemen, welcome to FlightClub.
Once you hear that beep, the flashing should turn slow blink like that, and then you should be able to on and go. And then to change the color of the LEDs, you just push both sticks forward until the LED starts flashing, and then you just move it side to side, pick the color you want, and then when you're done, push down, hold down. Who is the Brushless Inductrix for? Their target audience is definitely for someone who doesn't have any equipment, somebody who's never built a quad, somebody who's never flown a quad. I think that's why they went with their proprietary firmware and not allowed beta flight on this thing. They want this quad to be as beginner friendly as possible. Buy all their Blade and Spektrum branded stuff, plug in a battery, bind it, and just fly. No tuning or anything. Would I recommend this quad? Nope. I wouldn't even recommend it if you fly Spektrum. At 150 bucks with no battery, and then you have to add a battery for 13 bucks, that puts you at 162. That's if you fly Spektrum. If you fly a Taranis like me, you have to buy an OrangeRX for another 35. That puts you at almost 200 bucks. That's close to a 3-inch mini quad range. For that price, you can buy 2 Emax Tiny Hawks with 2 batteries or 1 Tiny Hawk with 10 batteries. The Emax Tiny Hawk is a much better buy. Check out the video review I did on the Tiny Hawk. I'll put a link over here or in the description below. Check back next week as I'll be doing a review on the Happy Model Mobula 7. Once I do that review, I'll do one big review comparing 4 brushless hoops. The Inductrix brushless, Mobula 7, Beta 75X, and the Emax Tiny Hawk to see who is the king of the brushless hoop. So if you found this video helpful, give me a like, comment, and subscribe. Peace!